All right, here goes my watch list for Friday. RKUS. Let's get the drawing tool going here. Nice little breakout today. Just basically over this $12 area, and you can see nice volume. So looking for a continuation there. On an intraday basis today, I did give one trade idea very late in the day when it looked like this, because I knew the daily chart looked just like I showed you. I said if this gets to 1220, could be worth a shot with a 1210 stop. And you can see what happened. It went 1220 and ended up going to 1244, which, you know what, that's not too bad of a little late day trade. I'm not much of a late day trader, but that worked. And then it goes on watch again for tomorrow. Let's see, EGHT. Let me get this line out of the way. I use that on an intraday basis today. Nice little breakout over a couple months worth of trading almost, or probably about a couple months on 4 million shares, I believe on earnings today. Ended up giving some of the pop back in the afternoon, but certainly still worth watching for follow through tomorrow. BIOF continues to be on watch. Kind of feels a little extended, but when you look at 15-minute candles, you've got a high, you've got a lower high, and then you've kind of got a little tight flag, if you will, there. So up over 890. I wouldn't be surprised to see this take out 924 and then maybe even challenge this 988 high. This one's been super strong lately. So this one is worth BIOF, worth having on the chart here. Let's see what else. Broadcom. I don't love this one. I mean, this you don't look at this. It's a great looking chart, but you had the gap up, and then had it on bounce watch today. I never did anything with it today, but you do have kind of a little intraday cup and handle. Sort of. You got to squint to see it, but it never did break its early high today. Okay. So if we get a narrow range and then a high of day break, I think Broadcom could give a decent bounce after earnings yesterday. Okay, let's see. Some bounce plays. DHI. Home builders got slammed on new home sales numbers today. But DHI, let me pan out and back in real quick to get that line on there. Okay, DHI, you can see it's been in a range, and it's at the 200-day and has some support, some recent lows. When I say recent, mid-May, it did bounce from mid-May, in mid-May from this area up, and it got back down to that area in a hurry, which sometimes, and with the 200-day there, sometimes can be a catalyst for a decent bounce the next day. What you just end up with is an overreaction on an intraday basis. So with a proper setup, I'll be looking for a long in DHI on an intraday basis. KNDI, another red day, closing near its lows. But this one, a lot of people watching this one. And after the gap up around from here to about 16, which was, what, a couple weeks ago, you came up and challenged these highs from mid-March. Okay, and then this is where the gap up. So a lot of times, we've talked about this in a lot of the videos, you get a gap up and then it goes into a range. This was selling the last couple days on a hit piece, if you want to call it that, on Seeking Alpha. And I do believe this thing is oversold at the moment and ready to bounce. I really like it around 16 bucks. But that doesn't mean if it opens at 16.40 and hits 16, I'm just automatically a buyer. I always used, intraday technical analysis for my entries. Okay, so keep that in mind. But KNDI, a very good bounce play candidate for tomorrow. That's another bounce play. Okay, TER, another possible bounce play. Couple big down days in a row, and back here, 18, the area was resistance. As you can see, I mean, again, not the exact number, but you've got almost a month's worth of trading in this range, and so you extend those, and it's getting down, and it's gotten there in a hurry. Okay, today big volume today, so there's some support. These lines aren't perfect. I'm just trying to throw them out there. Keep in mind, I have my mouse set really fast because I want a flick of a wrist to be able to cover 6 monitors of real estate. And so I have my mouse set at the fastest setting. It's not always easy to draw when it's like that. So anyway, TER, another bounce play, or I should say potential bounce play. MXIM. I literally have to look at this and figure out why I have this on. Oh, okay, I remember. Because after hours, this thing went all the way down to 28, and it looks like the after-hour session closed around 29. So I don't have it on. I don't have after hours on this chart right here, but it's not hard to see that is a big gap down. Here's 28. So, you know, you had a little bit lower than that. You know, you have nice support. So that's a big gap down. Is it overdone? I don't know. I didn't read the earnings report or whatever it was that smacked this. But this is definitely gapping down to an interesting area. So this could be one. And I will use intraday. I'll use pre-market trading from after hours today and then pre-market tomorrow to try to discern some support and resistance areas. And this could be one that gaps down and then runs from the open. So I'll have to see what it's doing in pre-market tomorrow, and maybe find some levels for us to trade off of. Don't love that one, but it caught my attention tonight, looking at the after-hours stuff. CBS, 5 red days in a row. It had, the last time it sold off down to 58, it went up really nicely from there. Now 58 isn't huge support. You know, you just had that one spike down there, but it's still, because of that, from there it's almost straight up. It took a couple days to get going. So that's an interesting level to look for a bounce, especially after 4 or 5 days down in a row. So again, not huge support there, but on an intraday basis, when you know how to watch, you know, intraday candlesticks form, if we get a turn around 58, we could get a nice trade. So keep in mind, we always watch the SPY while we're trading, and I don't fight the SPY. Under Armour also has to go on watch. UA, big breakout today. Let me look at the weekly chart, and I believe it is at, yep, I mean, it's at all-time highs. So back to the daily, very nice breakout today. Spotted this one early on in the trading day and actually called it for a trade today. Gave a really, really nice trade. You had this huge gap up and run, and then the pullback, notice to the 8-period moving average on 5s, but then you had this really nice little tight flag right below 68. So I literally called a long at 68 if it got there, with a stop 25 cents below. So that is where we were looking for an entry right there. And you can see what happened. Doesn't look like much, but it went all the way to 69.85. So it went up almost $2 from there on 25 cents risk. And that is the rest of my watch list. We'll find stuff to add as a group in the chat after we open as well. For example, real quick, I'll show you CCL was one this morning that I called right off the bat in the chat room, right around 37.15. I don't normally take a trade in the first minute or two, but I did on CCL because the 37 area, I think this line was pre-market resistance, right around this line right here. And so it opened right there and then just took off. So I ended up calling an early trade at like 37.15, and we got a quick move to 37.50. And it was because of pre-market coupled with RCL, which was gapping up to, I don't know if that's all-time highs, but that's certainly any new recent high on RCL. And I looked at, you know, its sister stock, CCL, and it was nowhere near recent highs. So I thought that was a good candidate as a sympathy play to RCL's pop. And it worked out great. But that's an example of finding something that wasn't on the watch list, you know, to trade at the open or to trade. So we'll look for stuff like that as well. I'm going to quit babbling, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.